my name is Mars. You can call me MG if you'd like, and today we have my TBR for May. Now, this video is going to look quite different from my usual TBR videos because I'm not playing my TBR game. We are in the home stretches of hrcyed 2.0. hrcyed, if you are unfamiliar, stands for the hardest reading challenge you'll ever do. It is run over by Q at the channel QWERTY, and it's a very intense but fun reading challenge. It started in July of last year and runs up until the end of June of this year, so only 2 months left, and I'm starting to stress. Well, I've been stressing about it for a little while, but we have 2 months left and I want to get a blackout on the bingo board. I know that I don't have to do that, but I really would like to, and I've got about 22 to 24 books left. I tried counting it and I got two different numbers the two different times I counted, so I don't know which one is correct or if either of them are correct, but that's a lot of books to read over the next 2 months. So instead of playing my TBR game or doing Series Slasher, which is another game that I play during the month, and getting books to read that have nothing to do with hrcyed, I'm just going to focus on my hrcyed books and try and get them done before the end of the whole challenge. So I have compiled a list of the ones that I would like to read during the month of May, and I'm just going to tell you about them. First, though, I would like to mention book clubs. I am part of 2 different book clubs. The first is the Nostalgia Train book club. It is run by my dear friend Violet. I don't know what we will be reading in May, but I will probably not be participating. I know that there were a few books talked about that were contenders for the month of May, and none of them really, piqued my interest. They seem fine enough, but they're not anything that I'm desperate to read, so while I might read them in the future, I think I'm gonna pass during the month of May just because I have other reading priorities in the works already. The other book club is my own book club, the Honeybee Society, where we read one dark academia book every 2 months, and the pick for May and June is Legendborn by Tracy Deonn. This is a book that I am so excited to get to. I love Arthurian stories, and mixing that with a dark academia setting just sounds so cool. So I have 2 months to read it. I am going to tell you right now, I am very, very unlikely to be reading this in May. It's more likely to happen at the very end of June after I have completed hrcyed, assuming I do complete hrcyed. So it will happen, just probably not during the month of May. With that being said, I will now talk about all of the hrcyed books that I want to read. I have narrowed down the complete list of books that I still have to read for hrcyed down to 11, and split those up into 3 categories of why I chose those books as the ones I want to read in May. The first category is ones that are on my physical TBR. I only have 2 left. Everything else I will have to check out from the library, but the first of which is The Odyssey of Homer, translated by Richmond Lattimore. I really like this cover. It's a little bit scuffed. I did get it secondhand, but the colors are really pretty. Yeah, I got this at a library book sale last year, I want to say, and I've always wanted to read The Odyssey. This is the edition that they had. I don't know if this is a translation that a lot of people enjoy or not. I guess we'll see. I am intrigued, but also a little bit scared of this because it is a classic, but I really think I will enjoy this. I don't know if I'm going to see the movie adaptation when it comes out. I've heard some not so great things about early teasers and stuff, so we'll see what happens with that. But I will be reading this book at the very least. The other one from my physical TBR is Lycanthropy and Other Chronic Illnesses by Kristen O'Neill. This is actually an ARC that I got in a little free library sometime in the last year. This came out January 2021, so quite a few years ago, but this copy was just what was available to me. I have been trying to read this since January. I haven't put it on any official TBRs, I don't think, but it's been in the back of my mind as I should read that, I should read that, I should read that, and it just hasn't happened yet, so I really would like to get to it in May. The problem is the font is so microscopic. And this isn't a thin book. It's like almost 400 pages. Yeah, 378 pages with that tiny of a font. It's just putting me off, even though I really would like to read this. So I am going to make an effort to actually get into this during the month of May. So those are my two physical TBR books that I have left to read for hrcyed. The next category of hrcyed books I'd like to read during the month are books where they're the last one I need to read in order to complete a prompt. I have not actually completed many of the prompts. Out of the 25 squares on the bingo board, I think I've completed 7 in their entirety. It's a little bit embarrassing and a little bit anxiety inducing this late in the game, but most of them I only have like 1 or 2 books left to read. And so these are all of the ones where I only have 1 book left in order to fulfill that prompt. And I do double up. Each book, not each book, but most books fit 2 different prompts, 2 different challenges. So by reading them to fulfill this one challenge, I'm also making progress on the other ones where I have more books left to read. So it's going to benefit me in more ways than one. But I have 7 books in this category. First, for the series Staircase, the last book I have to read is for the duology. I have to read The Second Son by Adrian Tooley. This is the sequel to The Third Daughter, which I did really enjoy, so I'm interested in seeing how this one plays out. Next up is the TBR game challenge, where you have to play someone else's TBR to get prompts. And the last book I have to read for this is Deathless by Catherine M. Valente. And I ended up playing the, what is it called? 2 Libraries? Is that what it's called? The Lord of the Reeds game by Sylvia over at Library Unbounded. Is that her name of her channel? I don't know why I'm forgetting everything right now, but it's a super fun game that I love watching her play every month. So of course I did that for the TBR game that I wanted to play. And I read the other books for this challenge so quickly in hrcyed. I don't know why I didn't get to this one, especially because it's one I'm very excited for. Next up is The Last 10 Years, and the last year that I have to complete is 2017, and I will be reading The Stone Sky by N.K. Jemisin. This is the third and final book in the Broken Earth trilogy, and I have absolutely adored the first 2, so I have extremely high hopes for this one. I cannot wait to pick it up. I am actually waiting to pick it up. My library hold has not come in yet, but it is on the way. The library website says it is in transit to my local branch, so I should be able to pick that up very soon. Then for Become the Avatar, the last book I have to read is The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. This is my pick for Earth. Technically, I do have this physically. You can actually see it right here. This is my box set of the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit books all together, but I want to try reading this as just an audiobook. If you've been around my channel for any period of time, then you know that I am not the biggest audiobook reader. I take in information a lot better visually, so my favorite format to read is physically, followed by ebook. And then I do love listening to an audiobook, but mostly if I'm listening with my ears and reading with my eyes at the same time as like an immersive reading experience. So I want to try and read more audiobooks just on their own, and I feel like The Hobbit is a very good place to start. I've listened to it before with the physical book alongside, and I've read The Hobbit many, many times. I know the story. And Andy Serkis, what was that? Everything is just happening outside today. It's crazy. There were like sirens all day. I don't know what's happening, but we are gonna move on. The Hobbit. Andy Serkis does a phenomenal job. I'm excited to listen to the audiobook. Next up for the prompt of Animal Friends, the last one I have to hit is Zoo Animals, and I will be reading Shark Heart by Emily Habak. Is that how that's pronounced? I really don't know. I love the cover of this, and I think, according to my knowledge, this is about a man who is slowly turning into a shark and his relationship with his wife. And that sounds very interesting. I feel like it's going to break my heart. So looking forward to that. For the BIPOC authors prompt, The last one I will be reading is Johnny Appleseed by Joshua Whitehead, who is a member of the OG Cree indigenous tribe. So that is the last of the 10 BIPOC authors to read. Obviously, I read more BIPOC authors than just the 10 for this prompt, but this is the last one that I have slotted in specifically for this prompt, if that makes sense. But then the final prompt that I currently only have one book left to read from is the new releases square. So for April, my last new release that I have to read is Japanese Gothic by Kylie Lee Baker, which just came out, and I am waiting for my library to acquire it. I believe the Philadelphia library system has like 17 different branches acquiring copies, including my local branch, the one closest to me. So I should be getting that any day now. I'm so excited. I loved Bat Eater and Other Names for Cora Zhang by Kylie Lee Baker, so I cannot wait to pick up Japanese Gothic. And then the last two books for my hrcyed plans for May fall into the category of I have to read the final two books of two different series, so I'm hoping to read the penultimate book in May so that I can read the final books in June. So the first one of that is A Reaper at the Gates by Saba Tahir. This is the third book in the Ember and the Ashes series, and this is a series that I like, but I don't really love. I feel like it's not exactly my cup of tea, but I'm having a good enough time to continue reading it. And I read the first book physically, and then the second one as an ebook. I was a little bit scared going into it because it is high fantasy, and those books are ones I tend to prefer physically, but I did fine reading it as an ebook, so I think I might just do that again because it seems a little bit easier than waiting for the physical copy to come through the library. I am doing that for some books, but most of these I'll probably read as ebooks. But then the other one, the last book on my TBR for May, is Before the Devil Breaks You by Libba Bray, which is the third book in the Diviners series, which is historical fantasy set during the 1920s, and I'm just absolutely loving this series. Libba Bray is quickly becoming a favorite author of mine, and I cannot wait to pick this one up. So those are the 11 books that I'm hoping to get to during the month of May in order to set myself up for success with completing hrcyed with a full blackout bingo. Obviously, if I have time, I would like to read more than these because I have 11 to 13 other books that I have to read for hrcyed still. So maybe if I get through these, I'll see what some other quick wins might be. But that is a problem for me a month from now when we're nearing the end of May. For now, if you've enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye, everyone.